Okay, so the question in our industry is about art versus craft. But even before we get into that question, I have to explain, why are we even having that issue in the first place? Let me explain. So we talked before about how engineers are really the currency of the realm. Engineers are who runs the software industry in many ways. Like, they're the scarcest resource, they're the thing you need the most of, they're the hardest to find, and their opinion really kind of wins the day a lot of times. Now you get designers in there, and the question is, well, what are these different approaches? How do they meld? Engineers come with data, often. Designers come with instinct and creativity. But in fact, the first designers to come into our industry, and many today, in fact, would say, oh, no. We're not artists. We're designers. We're craftspeople. We focus on the technical aspects of our profession. And in fact, we have just as much data to support our conclusions as engineers do. And that's actually, there's nothing wrong with that per se. The problem comes when you start denying the more artistic, the more intuitive aspects of what a designer does. So, art is really intuition and raw creative force. But to an engineer, not all, but often, to many, to most, I might even argue, to most engineers, art is fluffy, fuzzy, mushy. Those are not words you ever want to be used to describe you or your opinion in a meeting at a technology company, right? And they make designers insecure. So designers respond with, what, emotions? No, instinct, art. We don't use those terms. But in fact, those things are really important. Let me give an example. One of my favorite buildings, one of my favorite creations, technological creations in the world, is the Empire State Building. If you have not been there, pause the video and go. I will wait. It's amazing. The Empire State Building, never mind the engineering, the ingenuity, the innovation that was required to stand up this massive, absolutely massive structure in the middle of Manhattan. Never mind the technical acumen that was required, not just by the engineers, but by the craftspeople. All that inlay work, all the carving, the gorgeous Art Deco details. But at the end of the day, the combination of engineers and craftspeople made a work of art. The Empire State Building is a work of art. There is absolutely no doubt about it. When you walk in there, when you see this monument to American society and how it felt at the time, when you see that, America was about industry and nod to the past and showing how we'd conquered the past with our industry and our innovation and our resources and our muscle and our bold imaginations. That's what the Empire State Building is. And it is stunning and it conveys emotion. And yeah, it's fluffy and mushy in terms of how it makes you feel. But that doesn't take away from all the craftsmanship and the engineering and the math that went into it, right? Guess what? This is the ideal we should be aspiring to when we make software today. Yes, of course, we should come out many of the problems in software with an engineering mindset. And yes, we should come at many of the problems with a craftsperson's mindset, right? Perfecting our craft and working on the details of our technique and making sure that our materials are just so. But there is nothing wrong with, in fact, it should be mandatory that in the software that we spend most of our time at work, at home, being productive, being entertained, that we should aspire to the kind of ideal that the Empire State Building achieves.